All right, hello. Uh, I'm Nadia Shake, and I am. 1 second. Hold on. That's better. Okay. Hello. I'm Nadia Shake, and I am the creator and the owner of GumRoad Studios. And within GumRoad Studios, I have this brand called Cool Storytellers. And so today, I'm going to share a little bit about um, how I used art to survive, and now I teach others to heal through creativity. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. I just want to make sure I have everything set up here so that anyone coming in from LinkedIn or from uh, YouTube or Facebook can join. And let me announce on Instagram. Wait, oh, all right. Hello. I am live streaming on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So if you go on to any of those platforms, I'm live right now. I'm talking about how I use art to survive, and now I teach others to heal through creativity. So if you're interested in watching me talk about that and sharing a bit of like my story, then hop on. All right, see you guys soon. All right, give me like a moment, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Whoa. So I said I was gonna share like my origin story of cool storytellers and just explain like okay, how did cool storytellers start? You know, it's been called Cool Storytellers Lounge or Cool Storytellers Collective. It's all been like an evolution of how I started out as a creative, as an artist, even before that, just like as a kid. From childhood, art wasn't just a hobby for me. It was this like practice. It was this ritual. It was this like lifeline for me. Um, I grew up in a interfaith, um, interracial household. I'm African American, Black, and South Asian Indian. And so I grew up like with those two cultures, and then half my family's Christian, half my family Muslim. I grew up in like this really mixed kind of environment. I navigated a lot of emotional um, things as a child. I was never diagnosed as neurodivergent until much later in life, but I was born premature. So that's something that I navigated. I had a lot of trauma growing up as well. And I was always, because of whether it was being neurodivergent or just because of the environment I lived in, I was always really quiet and shy and observant. And so I used creativity for a couple of different things. I used creativity to regulate my nervous system. I used creativity to make sense of my world around me, make sense of my mixed identity. I always thought of myself as a mutt, which, it's not politically correct to say that, but that's how I felt about myself, being a mutt. And so I used it to understand my identity. I built inner worlds on pages, on journals like this, like that nobody else could take away from me. And it's where I felt the safest with a pen and a journal, usually for birthdays or Eid or for holidays. I would always ask for like journals and art supplies. And so I could create these worlds that were safe. Like nobody could touch them, no matter what was going on outside. In my head, I was like the safest. And so I learned early on that art wasn't just self expression, it was survival. I've mentioned before that reading like saved my life. And so that is why I write and I draw, because it's been a way to survive, to navigate, to traverse the real world and reality, but also to build myself up from the inside out. And so for a very long time, since I was a kid, probably up until the age of like 20, I was very private about this kind of stuff. Sure, I had like Deviant Art and Wattpad and MySpace and LiveJournal and Archive of My Own. It was very private. I had so many pseudonyms, so many aliases. Nobody actually, knew who I was, and I never really shared that part of myself with family. And so my journals and my drawings and my collages and my fanfics and my stories were the only spaces that I could feel like truly myself. Even growing up, I dealt with a lot of physical issues in my knees, with my energy, with getting sick all the time, being in the hospital. So I was always battling with my body and with who I was, who others saw me as, and who I wanted to be. But with art, and all of that didn't matter. I could just be me. But as I grew up, I saw like a common thread. There's a commonality. There's a common theme that I saw as I over the years, over the decades, as I got older. Um, that there are millions of people, especially neurodivergent, multicultural, interfaith, soft, sensitive women um, who really needed a atlas to safely um, express, navigate, and have fun with their identities. And so, Cool Storytellers was born in the moment I realized that if art can help me to survive, then it can help others not only survive because it didn't just help me survive, it helped me to thrive, it helped me to build myself up, it helped me to feel safe in the world, and it helped me to navigate spaces that I wasn't that I never thought was possible. And so from that realization, I grew into pitching my first into creating the brand Cool Storytellers, which I created in 2023, after I was taught by Larissa Brown and Kayla Cleveland through Larissa Brown's OC Art Studio. After being trained by them in graphic design or graphic illustration, comics, and storytelling and painting, I realized, like, okay, I want to share this, and I have skills now. And then I published a Dark Horse Comics as well, um, as a Dark Horse Comics author and artist, and as a America's Next Good Author semi-finalist. I really had a lot of I really had a lot of experience to go and try this new thing, which was to teach my first workshop, which was a comic zine workshop for kids and families in Oregon. And so from my experience of being taught by industry experts at Disney and Nickelodeon and Netflix, to winning America's Next Good Author semifinalist, to spending decades creating my own worlds and you know understanding myself and navigating my traumas and struggles, and having financial insecurity and dealing with all types of stuff. I wanted to create workshops that were safe and trauma aware, that allowed kids and families from all backgrounds to just enjoy themselves. So in 2023, I contacted 15 different libraries in my county, and out of the 15, five responded, but three, wrote up the contracts. And in that same year, I had three workshops. And the response I got from these workshops were like phenomenal. Like, these kids were writing stuff about grief, about, stuff that they liked, about how they felt different. I had adults talking about like relationship stuff. I had adults wanting to do more of this sort of thing, and just like wishing that they could, have a series of workshops. Um, so the program, managers were just amazed by the turnout. There were times when, we didn't know how many people were going to show up, and then it was like sold out. And so I just learned that creativity is central to the way I run my workshops. It's why story and collage and identity is the signature of my methods. And I was supposed to think about identity. It's something that you can change at like any time, and it's built through habits and discipline and safety and beliefs and through actions. And with these workshops, I really encourage anxious kids, neurodivergent women, neurodivergent kids, multicultural kids, to really dive into the parts of themselves that are holding them back, and like look at the shining, beautiful parts of themselves, and start to put those aspects, lift those aspects up, and the parts that they don't think is really that great, then start to do little actions little by little to make them better. For beginners and neurodivergent adults and even neurodivergent kids, and even women working their confidence. Cool Storyteller is not just an arts, program. And again, it's non-therapeutic, so it's wellness based, but it's really just a creative sanctuary um, that I wish I had growing up. And I grew up in Chicago, and so a lot of my experiences growing on the southwest side of Chicago was that after school arts programs and art really did save my life. It kept me out of the streets. It kept me out of gangs. It kept me out of um it kept me out of being teen pregnancies for me. Kept me out of abusive friendships or abusive relationships. Like art and storytelling did a lot for me. And in a lot of ways, I feel that that's why my programs, whether it's my paper collage workshops or comic collage workshops or comic scene workshops, um, these kits that I create as well, which is called Cool Storytellers Cut and Create Paper Collage Kits, whether it's any of those things, my like experiences of dealing with a lot of trauma and a lot of instability and um, dealing with abuse really comes into play in how I structure the workshops because I'm always being very encouraging, very uplifting. I encourage a lot of out of the box thinking as well, and I encourage others to trust yourself, like learn to trust yourself. It's like a trust exercise. My workshops like trust exercise with yourself. You learn to trust your intuition. You learn to trust your decision making skills. You learn how to try something new and and not commit to the final thing necessarily, but the process. You learn to commit to the messy process of creativity because we live in an information age and a social media age where things are cut and perfected and packaged in a way where you don't get to see all that stuff because it's quite honestly it can be boring, it can feel confusing, it can feel like, well, where's, like, get to the good part. But in real time, in these workshops, students are encouraged to go through that. And in 90-minute sessions, I get some pretty amazing results. Let me see if I have some photos. I'd love to share some photos with you all. This is a photo of my most recent adult paper collage class at the Reeser in Eugene, Oregon. And I had a group, I had about 12 to 15 students every week. This was the students that came in the last day. A lot of them were there from first class to the last class, or the first week to fourth week. And they're just holding up all their collages, and it was just so interesting because everyone came in there with different purposes. Some were processing like grief or trauma. Some were processing relationships. Some were just wanting to have fun. Others were just new to collage and just wanted to have an activity, a bonding activity with friends or with siblings. And so it was so cool to create that space to break down what it is I knew how to do, collage, storytelling, comics, writing, and make it so simple that these people who never were, some of them never even knew, like, touched collage. Others were doing this for 30 years. Others were doing this for, most of their life or just started. But like some of them were just really had no idea. To be able to take take what I knew and create something like this um, for these students, it was such a it was such an amazing space to be in. And I had, comments that were just like, it was worth the money. This was a great use of my time. Thank you so much. So the only complaint I had was that they wanted it to be longer because it was an hour. That was the only complaint. Was I wish it was longer. And so I'll share some more photos too. Let's see. I have some more. Yeah, this is another one by um oops, another artist as well. The two of them were working together the whole time through the collage. The one on the upper left is like a self-portrait one dealing with like relationship, the ending of a relationship, and the other one on the right was more of an expressive, experimental collage. And so it was just amazing to see people who had never done this before. And they're just like, you know what? Like, I love this. This is so fun. And I have, like I mentioned, I had these kits. I have these kind of collage kits. But the way I had it set up was a buffet. So it's like you have your panel, and then the table had all this cool collage materials and things like that, where different students can come up and try something new and put ideas together. And the way that I structured the lesson plan was such that um, every material was used. We're using yarn, wool, papers, magazines, felt, googly eyes, rhinestones. We were using a lot of different materials here, but it was enough that everyone could feel like there was something there, and that they could all just like try something new. um this was another collage. Her collage dealt with like grief, and so she made this elephant, and just the way that she had used the materials was so impressive to me, because she explained she'd done it as a child in collage, but she had never learned the way I taught, which was ripping paper. She learned about cutting paper, but ripping paper was something new for her. A lot of the students had never heard about ripping paper collage. They'd only heard about collage with cutting. And so, the way that I teach, because again, I deal with neurodivergent, I deal with different types of physical elements as well. I make the collage as accessible as possible. So whether you are have latex allergies, or whether you have mobility issues, or you just don't have hands and you can't cut things, there's something there for everybody to participate and to create a collage. So this was really fun. Her collage, it turned out so cool. She shared a bit about the collage and how she's just processing grief, and she just appreciated the space to be able to do it. And I was like, "You're so welcome. Like, I'm so glad that you could do that." Okay, let's see. Another one. Yeah, these ladies had a lot of fun. I believe it was their first collage class as well. And I was like, look, you're already experts. Like, I'm sure that you guys come in here with some great knowledge and some great experience, and you already know. And yeah, that was the case. That was the case. They all had a great time. That gal on the left made a collage about like herself and her self care, and I was like, as you should, as you should. And the other gal on the right, I believe her collage was also self care related. Let me see if I can find more images from the class. No, I can't seem to find more images that relate to her collage, but they are both just new to collage, and we're just really interested in just trying something that had no experience necessary. All materials were provided. Just the desire to have fun was the main requisite, the main requirement of the class. A couple more here that I'm going to load up. Oh, and then I'll share a couple that some of the students allowed me to share. Yeah, this Jackie, she created her collage is about green, so she's the one that created the collage with elephants. And I just loved how like intentional everything in her collage was. And our theme was movement. And so she created a collage based around movement. And so for her, it was moving through grief. The way she explained it was just so beautiful. And she really enjoyed the class. She really enjoyed it. She's like, I've done this when I was a child, but I never learned certain techniques that you talked about. And um, she had not used certain materials like the washi tape, or there's certain things that she was just new to using. And so I was like, okay, I thank you so much for, using the space in this way. I think that's incredible. Um, so yeah, she was a lot, it was a real pleasure to have in class. This was another collage that another student had made. She had not made collage before, and so she was making one about, again, the prompt was movement, but she was making one about like the cycles of getting unstuck, the cycles of like trauma, or the cycles of like repeated behaviors or repeated patterns. How you sometimes you'll come back to those things or in a different way, and you have to like learn or unlearn different things in order to move past those. And so you represent that with like the rings of like a tree. And I thought that was like really beautiful. When she explained it, was just so like it really resonated with me. She used a lot of paper cutting techniques. She used a lot of paper tearing, and just really having a story. And this theme was about storytelling as well. So we had a class. Class 3 was about storytelling. Class 4 was abstract. Class 2 was mark making, and class 1 was just the basics, foundation, composition, and stuff. So she had came in like the third class, and she got this done, and I was like, wow, that's incredible, amazing. This is another gal. I call a lot of them aunties because just like out of respect, I think for me, I like having those aspects of like my Asian culture when I create workshops. So a lot of them, I was like, okay, aunties, like tell me what you did. So this is one of the other students. She created one about movement, and it was I just thought this was so fascinating. She had like these arrows, and then it was just always movement. There was always some movement happening on the page, and I loved how she used like had paper tearing, paper cutting, mark making, washi tape, magazine clipping. She used so many things. This is another student. I really liked her designs. She had this really cool grungy like aesthetic when she was making collage. She really went big with like shapes and contrast and hierarchy, and everything she made was so like unique. Like I couldn't put my eyes away from it. This one was different. It wasn't necessarily story because she had started this one a class prior, but she was just finishing it up in class. This was in class 2 that she started this one, and in class 3 she was finishing it up. But I told her, I was like, you have this really great use of contrast in hierarchy and color and shape and scale in like the typography. Like you really have a lot of the great graphic design skills going on here. And even with the paper tearing, like the way that she tore the paper up and had the white there, it was very like very pleasing to the eye. So I really enjoyed seeing how it had different um, levels of artistic expression in class. It was very cool. It was very cool. Let's see if I can find one more image. No, I'll show two more actually. Um, she had the most interesting collage. Uh, Kirsten, she had created this really like funky collage, all these bright colors. I was like, this looks incredible. Like she used felt, she used yarn. She used a yarn. I'd never seen anyone use yarn in this way. Where she like took individual strands of the yarn and created like grass. It was so fascinating. I really loved her dedication to sticking. She made this collage from day one to the last day. So she was really like honing in on all the skills that we had learned throughout the class, and I was just so impressed. Everything just turned out so cool. I believe she talked about this one being the transfer of wisdom and the transfer of knowledge. So like the halo becomes bigger, the more knowledge that you have. And so just transferring that knowledge, I was like, that is amazing. And I was like, are you a birder? Because all these birds in the back, it's like, no. It's like, ugh, all the bird symbolism. I love it. And this was the fourth day, no, the third day class where we all had the opportunity to be on stage at the Patricia Research Center for the Arts because there was a like vinyl event happening in the lobby and in the lab. And so we all like I was like, we're the first paper collage class ever on the research stage. And it was just fun. It was a lot of fun. Um, it was just amazing to again facilitate such an amazing healing and collaborative space like the aunties were like laughing and talking and just like having fun and experimenting. And yeah, sometimes we had like heavier topics that we went through, but it was such a peaceful atmosphere, a peaceful space to be in. Like they felt comfortable. And again, this is not a therapeutic class. This is a wellness like um enrichment and wellness activities, kind of classes and workshops, but it's not therapeutic. But people come into class with all types of things, and so the collage just kind of guides them through. Again, the theme was movement. They get moved through their collage however they see fit, and I just felt really like every time I teach these classes, it reminds me when I was a kid, sitting in my room, with my journal and my pen, and just creating my own worlds, my own stories, um, and never sharing them with anyone. And to see that these women have like the bravery to share with me, even like what they're working on and how they're doing stuff, I felt so honored because it's like that's really what cool storytellers is about is facilitating a space that allows you to express the parts of yourself that you, especially for women, neurodivergent, um, elder women, women going through different life transitions, anything like that. Look, this is that space for you to step into those spaces and know that, like, it's like no judgment. Like, some of us are out here cursing, some of us are out here talking about different things. I was like, okay, like, let's do it. Like, and so that's what I want. I wanted a space where women could just show up as who they are and feel appreciated and have the collage support that and have the environment. So it was just I'm really grateful to a partnership with the Research Center for the Arts, and everyone that worked with me throughout the 4 weeks of the fall classes. I really appreciate the opportunity to have done this. It was so transformative for me. It truly showed me that, the stuff I've done since I was a kid is medicine for a lot of people. And that's why these classes are so popular. And what I'd love to share with you all is that I will be offering um, virtual classes this month. Um, the first classes will start uh, sometime next week, and it'll be a little asynchronous. So we're going to go over paper cutting, paper tearing, composition in the first class. The second class is going to talk about mark making, stencil, stamping. The third class will be about storytelling and translucency, and the fourth class will be about abstract. The theme will be movement. And so I'll have these like pre-recorded. You're welcome to like join live also if you're able to make it. But basically, it'll just be classes that you can watch later, um, and join us, or through Zoom. So I'll have like a Zoom link, and you can register to join. It's $20 a person, $25 for 18 and up, and $20 for elders, aunties, uncles. You know what I mean? And so just like I want to offer that this month. I'm really excited about it. I have the dates. I have to finalize the dates for this month, but it will be happening next week, the first last week next week for sure. And I want to offer that because it's my birth month, and so I want to share what helped me to thrive and survive for the last 30 some odd years. And so I think offering this would be really great space for those who are interested in working with me. If you've never worked with me before in collage, or if you want to teach, learn from me how to make collage, this is the opportunity for you. I'll have like a materials list. You don't have to use the materials I use. You can have your own, but I will have like a recommended materials list that you all can utilize. So I will announce like the link for that. However, you can sign up through this. You can sign up through this link, coolstorytellers.com. And through that link, you sign up for, you can get like prompts that you could use. They're like kid friendly also. But through that one, you can sign up, and then I will let you know when the next class starts. So I'm going to take like a short break, and I'll swing on back. Let's see if I can find anything for you all. Maybe there's like a video that I have that I will share. Oops. Okay. Oh, great. Okay, I'll have this on, and I will be right a little late, but I'm back. Okay. So before I got to the extra videos, I'm gonna definitely make sure that next time I share like a video that it's the actual video and not like other YouTube stuff. That can get kind of annoying. So today I just want to share a couple of collages that I've made so you all can kind of get an idea of like what I've done. I'll bring it up my other camera. And like I said, I will be posting, I did post a link to where you can sign up for the classes. So that's there for you to do. Okay, let's see here. Should just be ready to go. Do one at a time. Okay. And let's throw this on. Great. Okay. So this collage, this is a collage that I've created in a separate workshop. This is not the one that I created in the adult workshop. This is a different one. But essentially, you would be learning if you were to take the class with me coming up in December. You would learn about paper cutting, paper tearing in the first class, and composition. And so with this kind of collage, you can see that I have a lot of elements happening here. I have text. Can't really see it too well. I have like cutout text. I have typography. I have like images here, magazines. I have a full image here. I have some mark making on the back of the panel here with like the coloring. I have contrast going on here. I have scale and contrast. I have hierarchy happening here. I have contrast of materials, of texture, of cold and warm colors, of light and dark colors. And so this is a really good example of like what sort of collages that students come out with. Another example would be something like this, which is more like illustrative, story driven. Again, paper cutting, paper tearing, this wool element here, washi tape, mark making. Let me kind of get in a little closer so you can see that. Mark making as well. The wool is there. So these are the types of things that you can do with just the same materials. And this is another example. Well, where paper cutting, paper tearing. We have contrast of materials, hierarchy. We have something called rule of thirds happening here as well. And all these collages, there's rules of thirds happening. This one's is a really good example of like offsetting it, the rule of thirds. So your eye is more drawn to this part of the collage, but everything works in a way where your eyes focus here in the more graphic parts of the collage. Washi tape here. Let's see if you can see that. Washi tape elements here, mark making. This mark making on this popsicle stick, and there's mark making on the actual. Let me zoom in even a little more closer to that so you can really see that. Mark making on the magazine cutout. And then there's that paper tearing. So these are just some really amazing kind of things that you can do with collage that is very simple. It's not too much stress, and it's fun. Like all of these are fun. And even though this is not the prompt that we had in class, these are just examples of the types of collages that you could make. And so when you sign up for my paper collage class, you have the opportunity to make a collage however you like. Whether you're using your own materials or you wanted to purchase a kit, which you can purchase on my store as well. Either way, I'll have a materials list that you can utilize. When you register for the class, again, it's $20 for elders and $25 for 18 and up. And so when you register for the class, you'll get like a materials PDF, you'll get a prompts PDF, you'll have access to the live Zoom class with me. And you can also um, jo- um, join us. If you wanted to watch the replay, that would be like a separate kind of cost. But if you had access to the replay, then you could join my smaller classes. That way, that sometimes people just want to join in at a different time and they don't want to um, join live for whatever reason. So you can pay a different fee for the replay if you just want to watch the replays. So I'm really excited to be launching this. I've had a lot of demand for it. It's just taken me a bit of time to get all the necessary equipment and just getting it all right. I wanted to offer you all something that is high quality, that allows you to have as much creative expression as possible, that is adaptive, and just something that I think most people, if you've never made collage before, you could just from this class alone. So I'm very confident that with with the class that I'll be offering, that you all will not only enjoy what it is that I'm offering, but you'll be able to just walk away with something new, something different. I don't think that collage should be um, challenging for people. I think it should be nurturing. It should be fun. It should be an expressive way to learn about yourself, to have this sort of play therapy, this art therapy. Again, I'm not a therapist, so I can't say therapy, but this sort of playground, this fun playground, this art playground where you can just express yourself. And again, the themes that we'll have will be movement. So the theme will be movement, and so we'll have 4 weeks of just classes, and it'll be like a 90-minute class every week. And at the end, we can all virtually share what it is that we learned. So I can't wait to share like a bit more with you all. For registration, again, you can go to coolstorytellers.com and you will be able to register for this class, or this series of classes, rather. I'll announce the dates also soon, but as you register for the class, I will um, let you know a bit more about what it is that you're going to be looking at. And again, you have the option to watch the replays and join with the replays. So when you do register, you can also opt in to pay a separate fee for the replays, and then you have access to all of that stuff at once. And yeah, it'll be on Zoom, so I think it'll be a lot of fun for anyone just in winter blues, the blah feelings. It's all welcome. It's all welcome in the class. Let's have a fun time and enjoy the atmosphere and create some cool collage. Um, I think that's all I'm going to talk about for this side of things when it comes to the collage, and just tell you a bit more about like the origins of Cool Storytellers. I will be live again on Sunday, and I will be live streaming more about the classes. I'll be explaining a bit more, and also I don't know for sure if I'll have like the space to like demo and stuff, but I'll definitely explain a bit more about the classes on Sunday when I live stream and let y'all know more about it, so you can register. And I'll have a link, a live link that you can register for the classes as well. Beyond that, I think that's all I wanted to share with you all on Cool Storytellers. So thanks so much for watching. And if you're at the end of the replay, hi, welcome. My name's Nadia Sheikh, and I'm the owner and the creator behind Cool Storytellers Collective, or also called Cool Storytellers. And I create workshops and lessons and classes, so people, women in particular, neurodivergent families and kids can experience the wellness and fun of art. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys this weekend. All right, take care.